Hey everybody, final thoughts time for Sea of Legends. But before we get into it, please remember that this is a paid preview, so please take our very biased opinions with a grain of salt. That being said, I thought that there was a lot to like in this game.
Definitely.
I think that this is a really interesting sandbox game. I think it's pretty lightweight. There's a lot of options that you have, but I never felt overwhelmed by it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that, especially because at the beginning of the game, you're smack dab at the middle of at the location of your starting Captain's Quest.
Yeah.
Thank you. And that is a great jumping off point. You do that, you make a choice, but either way, you're going to get something from it. And then that gives you maybe a little bit of money, or maybe it gets you an item or something that gives you a good jumping off point to start the rest of the game. And that's only if you want to do that. If you have a plan, great, go towards that. But I never felt like I had too many options and I just didn't know what was the best choice for me. I always felt that there was something within reach that was going to be something good to do.
That's right. And that can happen a lot in sandbox games. Whereas with this one, there are a lot of things to do, which again, that's kind of like the moniker of a sandbox game.
Yeah.
But every single one of them helped you in a general enough way that it always felt good to be making any of those choices. Yeah. But each choice felt different enough that it felt like, if you want to be that player who's like, I'm all about crew, I'm going to get a whole bunch of crew members. There's different things that you can do to facilitate that. Mm-hmm. I like that in a game where you can kind of have like different archetypes that you decide that you want to play a specific game in.
Yeah.
So I think this game, what we're saying is that there's a lot of stuff to do, but it doesn't confuse you in that way.
Exactly. And pretty much everything you try to do, you'll get something out of it. Now, of course, there is the element of chance. There's challenges that you can do. There's fights. You might not always win those fights. Not everyone's going to get along with how swingy the dice rolls can be. Because as you saw, sometimes you can prep a bunch of dice and it's still not going to go your way. As we saw in that last challenge that we had, I was pretty sure that I was going to be able to win, and that's not how the bones rolled.
That's right.
So that can have a pretty big swing. And not everyone's going to get along with that. But what I liked about it is that when you are doing a challenge, generally speaking, the rewards for that are a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
You can always do a sure bet. You can always go to the tavern. You'll get something, probably some gold, maybe an item. You can always, upgrade your crew. If you have money, you can always go to a ship. You can always do your quests. But if you want to try for something just a little bit more enticing, like maybe you can raid a port or you can fight some enemies, and you're not always going to win, but if you can, it can be a big payoff.
That's right. Yeah.
The
risk reward there.
Yeah.
The fact that there are these risk reward options, but you don't ever have to do them is always nice. So you can always take a sure thing if you want. If you want to be a little more risky, if you feel like you need to, the options are there for you too.
Yeah. Now, I was actually having a conversation with Rahdo about this. I think you know the guy. And Rahdo famously does not get along with roll to resolve mechanics. I don't really have a problem with them. But he brought up something interesting, what he would have liked to see. And I think this would be interesting if the developers wanted to add something like this into the game, is when you fail a roll, get something out of it. Maybe some kind of like, you get a token and then you can spend that token to like rearrange a die on your next roll or something like that. I think that might be a cool addition if they can sneak that in before the release. I think I would love to see something like that. But even without that, I didn't have a huge problem with it.
Yeah.
Because like we were saying, there's always something you can do. Now, as far as the thematic elements of the game, I thought they were on point.
It's amazing. It's great.
You really felt like, it's a very lighthearted, but it's a lighthearted adventure. You're on the seas, you're fighting monsters, you're being a pirate. Everything that you can do that's piratey is going to help you in the game.
Yeah.
So I thought they married the theme and the mechanics really well in that sense.
Absolutely. The flavor of the game is so much fun. You know exactly what you're buying, exactly what you're getting into, a whole pirate experience. You even just by like looking at the art, you can tell like, okay, we aren't going to take ourselves too seriously.
Yeah.
But every single thing you do feels piratey. And I love the fact that in our playthrough, we justified what we were doing because we're pirates, which it's this nice form of agency or enabling, because sometimes if you play like an RPG or something, like I want to be the good guy, like I want to do the right thing. This, you have agency to be like, you know what, I am going to attack my friend, my roommate, because we're pirates.
Of course. I really liked how in the quests you get those two, like you'll get 2 or 3 options, and you can metagame it of thinking like, if I do this, I might get this result out of it. But it was so much fun to just say, you know what, I'm a pirate. I'm in it for the gold. Yeah. I'm not lawful good here. I'm gonna say, forget about your dad. Getting that inheritance money. Come on. I thought that was really fun. I really enjoyed that aspect of the quest lines.
Yeah. You don't have to stress about the right choice. You know they're all going to help you in some way.
Yeah.
What do you want?
It will almost always lead to a beneficial outcome. We did have a few quest lines where you make a choice, and like I think we knew as we were making the choice, it's like, this is probably not a good idea, but I'm curious to see what happens.
Yeah.
And then like you like, I don't know, execute a prisoner or something, and it's like, that doesn't feel good. But I'm doing it, I got something, but then I also got a new rival out of it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you go into this knowing that there are going to be consequences. Most of the time, you're going to get something good out of it. You can potentially get something bad, or you can get something potentially very good. And it follows very thematically from the choices that you make. So you dig your own grave on that if you want to, but you might also dig up some buried treasure. So
hey.
Hey, very smooth. And then just the art. The art is fantastic.
It's so pretty.
The minis are beautiful. They've done a lot of great work. Especially you saw the Skeletal Colossus and Sapakna, the Cthulhu monster. Just really well detailed minis. I think people are gonna really like that.
Definitely.
The only thing that I would say that I didn't fully get along with, some people aren't even going to have any kind of an issue with this, but we noticed that in the couple games that we played, it felt a little bit like there was a first player advantage. Yes, you do, you swap the NPC control around, but the first player is always the first player. So we noticed a couple times, like in the playthrough you saw, I was able to sneak in and do the thing that he wanted to do because I was first player. That might be a little bit stronger playing with 3 or 4 players. It's a little hard to say. I also think it would be pretty easy to fix to just sort of rotate the turn order.
Yeah.
So I imagine the publishers are going to look at that and see, that might be best to just adjust it a little bit. But also, it didn't negatively affect it that much for us.
Yeah, it's more of a feeling thing than necessarily a balance or mechanic thing. It might be a thing where it's completely balanced anyway, and so there's no like, oh, hey, you got first player, okay, you're automatically going to win. But it's a little bit of a feeling thing, but that's about it. Yeah,
and I never felt like it was a deciding factor in anything. It was just a little thing that kind of came up to that. So that was the only thing, but again, the experience overall was really fun. Like the theme ties really well into the mechanics, and if you like pirate games like this, if you want a fun, lighthearted adventure, I think this is going to be a great choice.
Definitely.
So, final thoughts for Sea of Legends. Hope you liked it. You can go check out the Kickstarter right now, and I will see you all later, folks. Bye-bye now.